family secrets, the hidden power, struggle between Princess Anne and King Charles, exposed. The walls of Buckingham Palace are hiding a conflict that threatens to change the British monarchy forever. A power struggle has emerged between two of the most influential royal figures, Princess Anne and her brother King Charles. And what's happening now could permanently alter the future of the royal family. What started as private disagreements has escalated into something the palace can no longer contain. For years, Princess Anne has stood as the embodiment of royal duty, hard-working, disciplined, and fiercely loyal to the crown. But recent developments suggest she's been quietly challenging her brother's vision for the monarchy, and this conflict has finally reached a tipping point. The royal rift isn't just about family disagreements. It's about two fundamentally different views of what the monarchy should be in the modern world. The roots of this tension stretch back decades to when Charles and Anne were young royals navigating their roles under their mother's watchful eye. Queen Elizabeth II shaped them both, but in profoundly different ways. While Charles was groomed as the future king with all the privileges and pressures that entailed, Anne carved out her own path as the hardest working royal, often operating in the background without seeking praise or recognition. What few people realize is how deeply these different upbringings affected their views on royal responsibility. Anne embraced a no-nonsense approach to service, carrying out thousands of engagements with minimal fuss or media attention. Her dedication became legendary within palace circles, showing up regardless of weather, personal comfort, or public recognition. To Anne, royal duty was straightforward: serve the people, support the institution, and never make it about yourself. Charles, by contrast, developed a more philosophical approach to royalty. His vision involved modernizing certain aspects while preserving traditions he deemed essential. He believed the monarchy needed to evolve to survive, even if that meant breaking with some established protocols. This fundamental difference in outlook remained manageable while Queen Elizabeth was alive, as her authority kept any disagreements from spilling into the open. But when Charles ascended the throne, everything changed. Suddenly, his vision for the monarchy could be implemented directly, and Anne found herself increasingly concerned about the direction her brother was taking the institution they both served. Anne believes that royal duty is about consistency and service, not reinvention, reveals a former palace aide who worked closely with both siblings. She's watched Charles pursue his idea of a slimmed-down monarchy with growing alarm, concerned that it undermines the very foundations of what makes the royal family relevant. The issue of this slimmed-down monarchy has become a particular flashpoint. While Charles sees it as necessary modernization, Anne views it as potentially dangerous. With fewer working royals, the hundreds of charities and organizations that depend on royal patronage face uncertain futures. Anne, who personally supports over 300 organizations, understands the practical implications better than most. Sources close to the princess describe a heated private meeting where Anne directly challenged her brother's plans. "You're risking everything Mother built," she reportedly told him, in a rare display of royal emotion. The confrontation left palace staff stunned. Anne had always been the stable force, the one who put duty above personal feelings. That she would speak so bluntly to the king signaled just how serious her concerns had become. Making matters more complex is the role of Queen Camilla in this family dynamic. Anne and Camilla have a complicated history that dates back to their younger years. They once moved in the same social circles, and rumors persisted of romantic entanglements that created lasting tensions. When Camilla officially entered the royal family by marrying Charles, Anne maintained a dignified public face while privately harboring reservations. Now, with Camilla as queen consort, these historical tensions have taken on new significance. Sources suggest Anne has questioned whether Camilla truly understands the weight of royal duty in the way Queen Elizabeth did. While never openly hostile, Anne's formal interaction with Camilla at public events speaks volumes to those familiar with royal body language. "There's a chilling correctness between them," notes a royal observer who has studied the family for decades. Anne is unfailingly polite, but there's none of the warmth you'd expect between a sister-in-law and the Queen Consort. Every interaction seems carefully measured. The public caught glimpses of this tension during recent state events, where Anne maintained noticeable distance from both Charles and Camilla. While protocol dictates certain positioning, royal watchers observed that Anne seemed to deliberately position herself alongside other senior royals, rather than close to the king and queen. These subtle signals, almost imperceptible to casual observers, sent clear messages within royal circles. Behind closed doors, Anne has reportedly expressed concern about Charles's approach to some of the monarchy's most sensitive issues. Chief among these is the handling of Prince Harry and Meghan's departure from royal duties. While Charles has attempted to maintain open lines of communication with his younger son, Anne has apparently advocated for a clearer delineation between those who choose royal duty and those who don't. Her thinking: when someone steps away from those responsibilities, she feels the privileges should likewise be reconsidered. It's not personal. It's about protecting the institution. This principled stance has created friction with Charles, who remains torn between his institutional role and his feelings as a father. Anne's unwavering focus on duty sometimes comes across as lacking compassion, but those close to her insist she's motivated by genuine concern for the monarchy's future. Adding complexity to this situation is the growing influence of William and Catherine, the Prince and Princess of Wales. As the future king and queen, their approach to royal duties increasingly aligns with Anne's traditional view: service-oriented, disciplined, and focused on substance rather than celebrity. This generational alliance has not gone unnoticed by Charles, who finds himself sometimes caught between his sister's traditionalism and his own vision for change. Palace insiders report that Anne has been spending significant time mentoring William and Catherine, sharing her decades of experience and helping them navigate increasingly complex royal responsibilities. Their growing alignment represents a powerful block within the family, potentially constraining Charles's ability to implement his more radical ideas for reform. What we're seeing is essentially two competing visions for the monarchy, says a historian specializing in the British royal family. Charles believes adaptation is essential for survival, while Anne holds that certain core principles cannot be compromised without undermining the entire institution. Anne believes in the principle that royal privilege comes with corresponding responsibility, explains a source familiar with the tension reached new heights during discussions about the allocation of royal patronages following Queen Elizabeth's passing. Anne reportedly pushed for a system based on proven commitment and capability, while Charles favored a more centralized approach with patronages concentrated among a smaller circle of senior royals. The disagreement forced difficult conversations about workload, visibility, and the very definition of royal service. Anne's unprecedented workload — she typically carries out over 500 engagements annually despite being in her 70s — gives her arguments significant moral weight. Those who work with her charities and organizations speak of her detailed knowledge, genuine commitment, and willingness to travel to even the most remote locations to fulfill her duties. This hands-on approach stands in contrast to what some perceive as Charles's more theoretical vision of monarchy. The situation grew more complex when documents were discovered suggesting that Queen Elizabeth herself had concerns about Charles's plans for modernization. According to sources familiar with these private papers, the late Queen had written notes expressing worry that too much change too quickly could destabilize the institution. Anne reportedly felt vindicated by these revelations, seeing them as confirmation that her approach aligned more closely with her mother's wishes. Charles, however, maintained that his mother had blessed his vision for a more streamlined contemporary monarchy during their private conversations in her final years. This disagreement over the late Queen's true intentions added an emotional dimension to an already complicated situation, with both siblings believing they were honoring their mother's legacy. Recently, Anne took the extraordinary step of increasing her public appearances in areas traditionally associated with the sovereign's role. Her visits to military establishments, diplomatic receptions, and heritage organizations seemed calculated to demonstrate her commitment to maintaining royal presence across all sectors of national life, a subtle critique of the slimmed-down approach. For his part, Charles has attempted to bridge the gap by publicly praising Anne's dedication and service. At a recent event honoring her charitable work, he spoke warmly of her unparalleled commitment and lifetime of selfless service. Olive branches that Anne accepted with characteristic reserve, yet the fundamental disagreements remain unresolved. Anne isn't seeking power for herself, insists someone who has worked alongside her for years. She's fighting for a principle that royal duty means showing up, day after day, year after year, putting the needs of others above your own comfort. She fears that vision is being lost in the push for modernization. As this silent power struggle continues, the British public has begun noticing the subtle signs of division. Anne's popularity has surged in recent polling, with many citing her work ethic and no-nonsense approach as increasingly rare qualities in public life. This public support strengthens her position within the family, making it harder for Charles to dismiss her concerns. The coming months will be critical in determining which vision prevails. Major decisions about royal residences, working patterns, and public roles remain to be finalized. Anne has made it clear she will continue speaking her mind, even if it means challenging the king himself. Charles, balancing his role as monarch with his position as her brother, must find a way to incorporate her concerns without abandoning his own vision. What makes this situation truly unprecedented is that it pits two deeply committed royals against each other, both motivated by genuine concern for the institution they've served their entire lives. Unlike previous royal conflicts driven by scandal or personal ambition, this disagreement stems from sincerely held differences about how best to preserve the monarchy for future generations. For Anne, now in her 70s but showing no signs of slowing down, this may be her most important battle yet. After decades of quiet service, she has chosen to take a stand on issues she believes are fundamental to the monarchy's survival. Whether her traditional vision will prevail against her brother's push for change remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: the Princess Royal will not back down when it comes to defending the principles she believes in. The monarchy stands at a crossroads, with two of its most senior figures pulling in different directions. The resolution of this royal power struggle won't just determine family dynamics, it will shape the future of one of the world's oldest institutions for generations to come. What do you think about this royal division? Should the monarchy stick to tradition or embrace change? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you want more royal insights you won't hear anywhere else, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel.